Ready? Okay. Well, welcome back to Partners in Progress, your small business Asheboro-centric entrepreneurial podcast. Today on the show, we have Rosie Goldstein. Am I pronouncing that right?
Goldstein.
Goldstein, the owner of Spirit Horse Ranch, and G&G Automotive Enterprises. Sorry, almost forgot. But she's on the show today as a business owner in Asheboro. She has some pretty cool things going on in her life and her career. So, if you mind introducing yourself.
Yes. Hi, my name is Rosie Goldstein. Um, we moved to Asheboro about 24 years ago, and we came from Long Island. And on Long Island, I had horses. So we brought 14 out of town with us.
14.
Yes.
On a trailer?
Well, we actually rented the tractor trailer that transports the United States equestrian.
Wow.
So it was a really nice ride for those horses, air ride and everything. So the horses had a great trip down here,
Yeah.
which I was very concerned about. So everybody made it down just fine. And my intention was, because I also worked at Home Depot, my intention was to retire the ponies that I had on the island and to just enjoy my horses, riding, trail riding, and stuff like that. My full-time job.
Yeah.
As soon as people found out what I did with the ponies on Long Island, doing birthday parties and fairs and stuff like that, word kind of got out, and people said, hey, can you bring? And of course, I did it because I love doing it. It's a
Yeah.
lot of fun. So we kind of continued doing that. I never really advertised or anything, but we continued doing that. And I continued my job at Home Depot. And then, as a little side note there, Gil, things when we had that recession back in 2008, 2009, that area there, he kind of had trouble with employment.
Mm-hmm.
So he got involved with a guy, his brother, and they were going to build a hot rod. They were looking for a place to build that hot rod. So they wound up renting a building in town. And after the hot rod was done, we kept renting it, and he started G. So that's a different story, but that's sort of what happened there. So, now had me and him doing his own business and horses, being in the backyard and me taking care of them and enjoying them, which
And
I always did.
For people that don't know, by the way, Mr. Gill is your husband, correct?
Yes. Yeah. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed my job at Home Depot a lot and helping Gil with G Automotive. What I did at Home Depot was I handled all of so anything that had to be sold there, whether it be flooring or doors or appliances delivered or window treatments, whatever it was, I was the in-between person for the store, customer, manufacturer, and the service provider.
Mm-hmm.
And I really enjoyed doing that and making that all be a smooth operation, which was not always so easy, but I enjoyed it. But I spent a lot of time on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
So as things progressed and I started to get older, I started to think about, while I'm on hold, nothing to do but wait. What do I want to do when I retire?
Yeah.
What thing would be fun that I would enjoy? And because of my history with the horses, and my parents had horses before me, so I kind of always grew up with horses. And we always did different things with, my father had many different horse businesses on the island. So I was involved in a lot of different stuff. So I decided that I wanted to definitely, when I retired, do something with the horses. And I have always known how therapeutic they could be and how they could help not only kids, but adults that may have issues or just need a little bit of support. The horses are so great for that. So I thought, well, I'm going to do a therapeutic riding center because, as far as I knew, there was none in Asheboro, nothing like that in the vicinity. Yeah, further away there are,
Mm-hmm.
but nothing right around here. And, it's always best and easiest for people to be able to go local.
Mm-hmm.
And we really like Asheboro. I mean, we were already part of the chamber because of G&G Automotive, and we already met a lot of business, and we really liked the town. So I thought, well, this is a great way for me when I retire to be able to give back to Asheboro and Randolph County. So that was probably around 2014, 2015, got that idea.
Okay.
So now I was like, all right, well, I have to out how that's look like,
Mm-hmm.
how I'm going to achieve that. So I had already gone through everything still with starting Gene Motive, but that was a for-profit business, and I knew that for the therapeutic piece of it, I would need to look into a nonprofit, because that would make it, to do a nonprofit, that would allow me to possibly, that wouldn't be able to,
Yeah.
that we could do different things to help within the community.
So Spirit Horse is a nonprofit
Yeah,
organization.
Spirit Horse Ranch. The official name of it is Spirit Horse Ranch Rescue and Education Center, because I knew I wanted an education center, and I knew I wanted to do therapeutic stuff. And I wasn't sure if we would ever get the rescue piece in there, so we kind of just stuck it in there so it was there
Yeah.
for the future. So anyway, I decided, okay, I've never done anything with a nonprofit before, never even been involved with one. So I did a lot of research, probably spent about a year researching how to start a nonprofit, what's needed to become 501, all that sort of stuff. And then I wanted to have some sort of certification, even though I have lots of horse experience my whole life. I wanted to become certified in the therapeutic piece of it. So I thought, well, let me really look into that. And I found PATH, which is the Professional Association for Therapeutic Horsemanship. And that is a worldwide organization that does exactly what I wanted to do. It is the overseer of organizations that provide therapeutic services for kids and adults. They give you an outline in order to set yourself up with. They give you all the things that you need to get started, and they support you from behind. Plus, they give you the training to have a certification.
Yeah.
So I got involved with them, and I spent about a year going to their different,
Yeah.
talking to different people that started a center.
This is while you're still working at Home Depot and you're just kind of
Yes.
putting your plan in place and
Yes.
getting the training. That's great.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And Gil was very supportive of me. I would take time off from Home Depot, and he would arrange to have a couple days off, and we'd go, because some of the conferences were not close.
Mm-hmm.
So we'd leave on a Thursday and go to the whole conference, like a 3-day conference, and get as much information. And we would split up. He would do some classes. I'd say, okay,
Mhm.
you go to these classes, and I'll go to these classes, and pair at the end of the day.
That's great.
So he was, just as I helped him with G&G, getting that all set up and laid out in the beginning, he helped me with all the particulars on this, as far as how we should set it up, how we should start out, how we should do having people.
And I know you said that you are very involved with G&G now. At this point, were you still like helping Gil like a lot, or were you
I was
involved with
helping
G&G
him a lot. So
like at
I
the
was-
same time as being Home Depot and the horse, conferences and everything on top of that, were you also
Yeah,
helping with
so
that business?
I worked at Home Depot from 6 to about 2. Then I would go to G&G and spend a few hours there in the afternoon, the week. A lot of times he would have a girl at the counter and then I would come of it.
Mm-hmm.
the horses at that point were just enjoying life being horses and ponies that I had. So I had someone that would go to the house and clean and get the dogs out. But that I didn't have to be super involved in that at the time. We didn't have anything going on other than the care of them. And, you know, I would feed him in the morning before I'd go to work and feed him at night when and that was it. But yes, then on certain weekends, whenever they would have a conference, we would go. But I guess Gil and I have always been work a lot.
Yes, that's what it sounds like.
So we just work a lot. It's just the way that we are and have always been.
We guys
Even
sound
when
like
I
great
was-
business partners.
Yeah, even
Partners in
when I was
crime.
on Long Island, I always had 2 jobs. And the pony rides that I did on Long Island was very seasonal, and it was always a weekend thing. So I could have my jobs, and then Saturday and Sunday we did the ponies and would go to either birthday parties or street fairs or schools or churches, wherever we needed to be. But that was always a weekend gig, and it was usually from, because of the weather up there, it was usually from April to October.
Gotcha.
And then in the wintertime, it was just too cold to really there.
Mm-hmm.
And Gil did not have anything to do with horses. He was not around them at all until he met me. And I already had the barn. I already had the pony ride business. I already had all of that going on. And when we first got together, I didn't expect him to get involved in that. And, you know, he would follow me out to the barn when I'd be feeding and be like, can I help you with? So in the beginning, he was like, all right, well, I could do all the water. I could dump all the water buckets and clean them and fill them with water for the horses. So he started out doing that. And then he came with me one time when I had to do a festival with the, and he said, well, I could stay at the table and sell.
Yep.
And so then he started doing that at some, which was great because he knew a lot of the people in town. I think that was the first one he came to, the town where he had his shop. Knew half the people in the town anyway. So we were doing pony rides at their street festival that they had every year. And so he ran the table there. And then he got really interested in, he liked the horses and the ponies. So he got more involved in that. So then, because I have a problem saying no, I would say yes to whoever called about getting a birthday party or whoever wanted me in an event. And I would say yes, and they'd be like, all right, now I got to happen.
Yeah.
So we wound up getting a second truck and trailer.
Oh, wow.
And I would go one way, and he would take kids with him and pony go the other way.
No kidding.
And we kind of just, each weekend, I would say, okay.
So somehow you're crunching the time and making it work and managing and
Yeah,
wow.
We always worked it out. It was a tight schedule, and I would get teenage kids to come, and I would teach them how to walk the ponies, and all they had to do, walk the ponies and maybe hold the kids.
Yeah, yeah.
That's how we would do that. And so we had a lot of kids that would volunteer, and depending upon what I was sending him on, usually just birthday parties, I'd send 1 or 2. And then if I did we did street fairs, and we brought 4 ponies, 6 kids with you. So.
Oh, wow. And when you moved down here, you did that down here also?
I didn't plan on that.
Yeah.
But
you saw that there was nothing here.
Well, people would just find out what I did and ask.
Yeah.
So I never advertised that. I never pushed that.
It's just as a result of your background being in horses.
And talking to people and people that I worked with and people finding out. I mean, we even went to your house with ponies.
No, I was literally sitting here thinking, was that you?
That was me.
You.
We brought ponies to your house for your kids. It was a long time ago.
Was that for a birthday party?
Yeah, my daughter's birthday party. And I mean, you know, she's 18 now, getting ready to go to college.
She was probably like 6.
Yeah, she was little.
12 wow.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Me and Gil came.
One question. What is it that brought you all down from Long Island down here?
Yeah, what was the reason for
all
that
right,
move?
so it's a cool story. So obviously, like I said, my mom and dad had horses on Long Island. My dad had a ton of different businesses. They split up. He got remarried. There's a lot of horses on Long Island. People might not think that. They might think it's very city-like, but it's not. It's very rural in areas, especially back then. And there's a huge horse community. And my father was very involved with, there was a handful of people that were very well known horse community. And my dad was one of them, and he was friends with the other three big guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the things that he did was he had a pay and feed business, and we used to deliver. Because the difference between there and here is the island is much smaller. And so even though there's a ton more people living on it, everything is close. Here you drive for an hour. There, you're going to get places much quicker. And you can that's why I could do 4 birthday parties in one day.
I see, because it's all kind of on the same
It's all
kind of
close
area.
together.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So he would do deliveries to different barns. So that would just make him meet more people.
Yep.
And I used to go with him. I met a lot of people too that way and saw a lot of cool horses and stuff. And some of his friends were like, well, we're getting ready to retire. And they had big barns with, doing riding lessons and horse shows and all kinds of things. And they were like, well, when we retire, we're going to move down south somewhere. And so 2 of his friends were like, we're going to move to North Carolina. So they all went on a trip to North Carolina to look at properties. And my dad went, stepmom, and 2 of their friends, and they all came down here. They did it a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 of them found properties down here. My dad would kid me and say, yeah, I'm going to go down to North Carolina and I'm going to be a chicken farmer. No, you're not. And he was just kidding with me, but he had looked at a place that was a chicken.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where that whole conversation came from. He was messing with me. But so they were looking at a piece of property. 2 of his friends bought property, and this was back probably around 85. So quite a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
But then he got cancer and got sick.
Your father?
My father.
Oh.
So he decided that he did not want to leave the island because there's a lot of really good hospitals and doctors up there.
It's New York.
And there's, New York, Mount Sinai, New York Hospital, cancer renowned. So he decided he did not want to leave and he stayed up there and they moved. Everybody else moved.
Mm.
So, unfortunately, because he was such a heavy smoker, he did pass away from cancer. And my stepmom stayed in touch with the people that moved down here. So it was probably 2000 that she came over one day and said, hey, I brought some land down in North Carolina.
Your stepmother?
Yes. She bought a piece of land. And she said, eventually I'll put a house on it. That it was near another couple that they knew. So it was summer of 2000 in August. He invited me to come down and said, come down with me. I'm going to look at the property and figure out who's going to get a modular, where I want to put them, and all the particulars.
Where was this property, by the way?
Siler City.
Tyler City. So pretty close to here.
Yes. So, and she said, you can see this other family that I knew from Long Island, but from many years ago when I was little.
Yeah.
So I came with her, my first time being to North Carolina. And at home, we were having a very humid, dry kind of summer. And I came down here and we got off the plane and rented a car and drove from Greensboro airport towards Siler City. Everything and open. So we went to her property and she showed me her property. And then the people that we knew were like, so we looked at the property and she had 20 acres, but just land, open, but it was overgrown. So then we drove in the car and we were going to these people and they had opened, I didn't know it until we went down this one road and went past them. They opened a horse retirement farm. They had 200 acres in Siler City with a horse retirement farm where people, most of them, because they had a lot of clients on. She was a very big trainer and they went to a lot of shows and stuff like that. So she knew a lot of people in that community. And when their horses either got injured or were too old to jump or show or whatever,
Yeah.
they would come down here and be at her place and retire the rest of their life
and live their
and live
rest of
their
their
best
happy
life.
lives. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually because that's a question I was going to ask you from my perspective doing estate planning. Having horses left over, there's an obligation there, and it's not easy for a family to take care of them. I've got an Uncle Larry he's a big horse people. He and his wife, and he played polo, and I remember he had his last horse that he just said, I'm not getting another horse. I'm going to let this one pass away because he was planning for the future,
Right.
and realizing he's getting older, and because it's a huge obligation to have
It
a
is.
horse. What happens a lot of times when people pass away?
Do
you
they
ever
just go to those retirement centers? The horses
or
Unfortunately,
or
a lot of not good
neglected?
things happen there because people,
yeah,
and so a lot of times those horses wind up in bad hands
yeah,
because unless you have a plan.
mm-hmm,
That's why, I have a plan, but not a lot of people have a plan.
yeah,
So, that horse, a lot of times the family members won't want anything to do with it, and they'll just, whoever and a lot of other people aren't going to take on an old horse because you can't do anything with it.
mm-hmm,
So it'll go to a dealer that will probably sell it for horse meat. The way that it goes. So everybody needs part of what, if you commit to buying a horse,
Mm.
you have to commit to the whole thing. It's like a dog. Dogs don't live as long as horses. Horses can live a long time. But if you're going to buy one, commit to it. And a lot of parents don't realize that with their children.
How long do horses normally live?
They can live into their 30s now.
30s. So if you get a horse when you're, I don't know, like 5, it'll live way longer than you're going to be at home.
Right.
For the
And
most
that's
part.
why I always suggest to the parents, don't buy a horse.
mm-hmm,
Just lease. Because when that kid is 16,
yeah.
You can lease a horse, like lease a baby horse.
well,
Or does
you
it have
don't
to be an
want a
adult?
baby horse.
You don't want
first
a
of
little
all.
one.
No, you don't want a baby horse. You want a horse that's trained that the kid could ride or whatever, or the adult or whoever. But yes, there are places where you can. Some people will only allow you to lease the horse and keep it on their property
Mm-hmm,
where they still have control of care.
yeah,
Other people will let you, say, all right, you could lease this horse for X amount of dollars, but you're going to sign a contract and you're going to be
You're liable for
fully
it.
responsible for it.
yeah.
Then when you're done with the lease, you have to give the horse back. I've already heard since I've been in this state of
Yeah.
some where
They don't
the
take
horse
care.
gets gone.
Oh, really?
They decide to sell the horse. And the person that leased the horse, when the lease is up, is, hello, where's my horse?
Goodness.
Not good. Twice I heard of that.
We got you off track on your
I know,
story.
yeah.
You're
Let's get
down
back
to
here
the
with
story.
your-
So I came down
Yeah.
with my stepmom. The people that we knew in Siler City, we're going to go visit. And again, I didn't know about the retirement farm. So we're driving and I'm like in awe about it. So we're going down Airport Road, Siler City. And to my right, I see all these beautiful, nice grass fields with all these horses grazing. And I was like, stop, I have to take a picture. This is just beautiful. Says, oh, that's Nancy and Richie's right there. We're just going to go around the block. Their entrance is on the other side. And I was like, oh my gosh, this. So, of course, I go there and see them. At the time, they had 97 horses there.
What? Oh,
That
because
they-
of the retirement center?
Because it was a retirement
Okay.
center. They had 97 at the time, but it was 200 acres.
Yeah.
And they had different pastures. So, we were here for a week. So I went over there and saw them. And, their 2 daughters, which were a couple years older than me, the last time I saw them, they were like probably 12 and I was 6, and now we're all grown up now. So it was really a lot of fun to see them. And they put me on the 4-wheeler and gave me a tour of everything. And I was, oh my gosh, this is awesome. I love it here.
How quickly were you saying I want to move to North
As
Carolina?
soon as I got home. So that's a funny part of the story. So then, they took us to dinner to Asheboro. So we got to come into Asheboro. And, Richie's favorite store was Tractor Supply. So we didn't have them on Long Island. So, and it was a little different back then, not quite as commercial as it is
Oh,
now.
yeah.
24 years ago, it was a little different. It was more really geared towards farmers, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So I went in that store and I was like, wow, this is the coolest store ever.
Everything you need for
yes,
what you do. Yeah.
Yes, great stuff. So, and then we went to K&L Tack store, which was on 64. And I got to, that was their original store that they had there, also a little different than now. They had tack there beside all the clothes. And I thought, God, this is great. So, Nancy knew of a couple of other properties for sale. And she said, there's a place for sale right around the corner from Barbara, my stepmom's property. So she brings me around the property and all the information. And when I went home and Gil got me at the airport, I was like, I took pictures of it. It's for the horses. And he looked at me and he said, that's really nice. We're not. That's really great. We're not moving. So I was like, ugh, all right.
Pipe dream.
So yeah. Future, right? The future. So, like I said, that was 2000 in August. So then September 9/11 happened. And, at the time I had 18 horses in my backyard. We were in a town called Ridge, which had Brookhaven National Laboratory right around the corner. Did a lot of governments. And we could, 9/11, when you lived in New York, was really a horrifying thing. Everybody knew somebody everybody knew a firefighter or a police officer or someone that was involved. And it was such a traumatic experience. And they shut everything down. I mean, on Long Island, the only way that you could get off of it was either to go across a bridge, through a tunnel, or take a boat, because it's an island. It's close to Manhattan and the other boroughs. It's kind of close to Connecticut on the other side, but still. So for 9/11, because they didn't know what was going on, and all of emergency services, everything was one way to go into the city where the explosions happened, but nobody else could travel.
So you guys were kind of stuck on Long
So
Island?
we were stuck. And me being the planner that I like to be, I'm like, okay, well, so now I have 18 horses and we're stuck here. No one knew what was going to happen. No one knew. It was really scary.
Mm.
So that really bothered. A lot of people moved right after that. A lot of people exited. Two of my neighbors, a lot of people left because everybody was like, oh, we're just going to get out of New York. So, but we all survived. We all got over it. There was a lot of trauma that remained because of that. And there's still trauma from that. That was a very bad thing. But that winter, so like January, Bill has two brothers that lived in Florida. And one of the brothers was ill. So he had to go down there to visit.
Mm-hmm.
So he went down to Florida in February to visit his brother. And I said to him, on your way back, stop in North Carolina.
Yeah.
So I called my friends that lived in Siler City, and they were like, oh, absolutely. We'll pick him up from the airport. We'll show him around. We'll do everything. He was only going to be here for 3 days, but it was kind of like a little nice thing to do after he went to see his brother who was. So this was a little, diversion.
Yeah.
So they picked him up from the airport. They showed him all around. He went, of course, to their place, which was. And they showed him that piece of property that I liked, which was still for sale. And I went to pick him up from the airport, and he said, if you could work it out, we can move.
It's time to
went,
move.
Okay, I'm in.
Now we're in. Now we're green.
That's great.
Now, so from that moment, I was on a mission. So, that property in Siler City obviously didn't work out, which was a good thing that we went. Everything happens the way it should.
That's right.
it was really great that we wound up in Asheboro. I mean, we had all been here to visit. But my biggest criteria was, it was easy for me to transfer to Home Depot. And at the time, Gil thought he was transferring with a company, heavy equipment company, because that's what he was working for at the time on Long Island. He thought that somebody in Greensboro was going to take him. That's another story. I'll let him tell you that story. But so I was they were building that new Home Depot on South Elm Eugene Street, and they took me right away immediately. So I knew I had a job, and now I had a timeline for when I had to be here. So we came down for a week, July 4th, to try to find a property. So I had to have a property that had enough room. I was bringing 14 animals with me. There had to be enough room, fenced area, and some kind of shelter to start out with. So we did have a very good real estate agent. Originally, I got the newspaper from here, and I found a property I liked it. Thought I wanted it. And I called the real estate guy, and I said, online, everything looked beautiful, and it looked perfect. And I thought, deposit on that, lose it. And luckily, he wouldn't let me. So when we came down for that week, we drove from Long Island 12 hours straight to that property and got out and met him there and went into the house. And the house was not as it was. Not. I mean, even though I needed all of that for the horses, I still needed a house that was livable that we could move into. Absolutely. And this was not going to be it. So we were on a mission now to find the proper place within the time frame. My house was already under contract on Long Island. So now we had to find something. So he would show us this, and either the house was no good or it wasn't suitable. And it was, the barn is beautiful, we can't live in the house. So we were really getting scared. And on Saturday, we were leaving like Tuesday. Saturday, he called me and he said, we have a new property that just came on the market. Real estate agent said, we can't show it until Monday because she's out of town, but I'll get us in there Sunday because of your special circumstances. So we met him at that property, and we were the first ones to see it. There was a lockbox on it. And like I said, the real estate agent that listed it was away. But Jim knew the company, got us he got us in there to see the house. And it was, Bill will tell you, we pulled in the driveway, and I looked to the left, and I saw the pastures, and I saw the old barn right there. And I looked at the brick house, and I said, okay, this is it. Let's buy it. And he said, you didn't even go in the house yet. And I said, well, I don't know. It looks pretty good. We don't have a lot of time. So luckily we went in the house, and the house was really good, so we now had a deal that we could work out. So it was like right at the final hour that we got that property and where we are now. So of course it didn't look anything like really what we have there now, but it had all the bones for what could work.
And is that where Spirit Horse Ranch is?
Yes.
And where is that property?
It's 7 minutes from where we are now. It's right on the outside of the city limits. We're like 1.5 miles from the city limits.
Is it
on Old Cedar Falls Road?
Oh, so it's on like the northwest, like more rural part. I'm assuming.
That I can't answer that way, but yeah, it's
North.
over there.
Up.
Yeah.
Got it, yeah. And it's a lot more rolling, hilly up there.
Yes.
I know a lot of the wealthier people of Asheboro live up there, but
no, we're not
necessarily. Not there. Is it past there?
This is where they put the big landfill now.
Okay, I do
that
not know
wasn't
what that
there
is.
at the time, the Great Oak landfill, but we're not too far from that.
Got it. Okay.
So the services for the Spirit Horse Ranch, what kind of things do you do?
So mostly we want to provide therapeutic services. So children or adults that have special needs.
And I wanted to ask you before you answer that, like, what, as a nonprofit, what does that give you? Like, how does that let people access you better than people that have to?
Well, that gives us the ability
thing?
to get grants
Mm-hmm.
and to get donations. So if you have a for-profit business like G&G, you everything has to come in. You have to earn the money to pay the bills, and then you pay taxes, and the IRS is involved. Not that the IRS isn't involved with a nonprofit, it's just different. So with the nonprofit, it's not for profit. So the money that we do earn gets used to cover expenses. We can have employees, but not a lot. It gets put back into the business. But if we have things that we need, like capital improvements, like now, we've already had 2 big capital improvements that we've done. Now we're working on our 3rd one to cover the arena. I can apply for grants and, get money that way because we're a nonprofit. They know how that money, and all of our financials and our documentation is open for the public to see, because when you're a nonprofit, there's nothing to hide. Here's what we do with the money. Here's who we pay and why we pay them. And it's really pretty cut and dry. That's how all nonprofits should be run. Unfortunately, I know that that is not necessarily true.
That's true.
And there are a lot of nonprofits, and here's the thing that, I learned and that I wanted to make sure never happened to us. A lot of nonprofits get very top heavy, where they have so many people working in the organization that the first thing that has to happen is payroll.
Yep.
Payroll, it could be over $100,000. It could be a lot. And so you have to bring that money in somehow, or you got to get the state to fund you, or you have to do something, because the idea of a nonprofit is to help those that might not have a lot of money, to help your community. And if you get too top heavy, kind of defeats the purpose.
Spend all your money on administration and not actually providing the services.
Right.
Yeah.
So in my mind, that defeats the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, in our organization, I now I've never taken any money from it. I've not, because that was my retirement thing. Yes, I do work really hard, harder than when I worked at Home Depot, actually, but it's what I wanted to do, and it's very, very rewarding. So I enjoy doing it. But when I brought in another a PATH certified instructor, she's got to earn a living.
Mm-hmm.
So I brought her in 3 years ago because it was becoming more than I could handle. And in order to grow, you have to have someone else there. So now she does all of the therapeutic lessons, regular lessons, and I do all of the program, like the summer reading program with the grade school kids like we have going on now. And then we have the after school program that. So I'll handle them and she'll do all. But she gets paid. Right now, she gets paid per lesson that she does, portion of it. I'd like to get her on salary eventually because, rain prevents us from being able to see riders.
Yeah.
So if if you need your money for household expenses, you can't have a good salary this week and no salary this good salary this week and no salary. So I have to get her to where she's getting a salary every week. Mm-hmm. That's our goal right now. But he does a really good job. And the therapy piece of it, according to...
And what kind of, I guess, patients do you see?
So there's a wide variety of them. When I first started, I worked with a local therapist that she was OT, occupational therapy, and physical therapy on children 5 and under. Mm-hmm. So they were all kids that were born with some sort of disability, or a lot of preemies. Preemies, I didn't know this, but I learned that a lot of times they don't develop right, or they don't develop the same as another child would. They might not.
I'm a preemie.
Oh, well then.
By a month.
Oh, well, that's probably
that
not too bad.
That's probably not
what's
too
like
bad.
bad?
These are preemies that you like are 2 pounds.
Because I think 40 weeks is full term, and so if you're like,
It's like less than 30.
yeah, I think that.
So that's
These
like
are
a
all
real
little
Yeah.
ones that are in the incubator for maybe a month before, Anyway, so she brought a lot of those out. And
Not 40 months.
Well-
I don't know what I was thinking. It's not 40 months.
no, weeks.
40 weeks. Thank you.
Weeks.
Thank you for
I didn't
correcting me.
even
Yeah.
that.
Someone would have made comments.
Yeah. So being in the saddle on a horse is not like any exercise you could do at the gym. There's something different about it. It utilizes a lot of muscles that you can't really utilize another way.
Is that because of balance, or is
Well,
it because of all the
balance is-
things you
you
have to
have
do
to-
in accordance with the horse?
Well, balance is a piece of it. You get balance when you ride, but there's just something about the position that you get in when you're on there and how you have to use your legs and how you have to keep your body upright. And a lot of these kids that come, and even other kids that are maybe using a walker, or have leg braces, they don't have a lot of leg muscles. They don't have, like spina bifida where it affects their spine. Being on the horse is going to force them to sit upright. Going to help them with posture in their neck. It affects every part of their body, really.
It's like a full body physical therapy. It's
It
not
is.
a strenuous exercise, but
Yes.
it kind of utilizes your whole body, I
And
guess.
if you think about a child that's going to PT and OT, and some of these little kids will go to multiple therapists, and they're in an office. And, they're kids.
It's drab.
If you would
kinda
rather
depressing.
ride a horse than be in an office, wouldn't that appeal to
So are you guys then certified like as physical therapy almost?
We're not physical therapists, but PATH certifies an instructor to handle those children. Now, when they don't come with the physical, in the beginning, I had the physical therapist bringing them. So she was coming with them. And we would work on whatever it was that she was working on with them, whatever area she wanted to work on. We would just do that in the saddle.
Mm-hmm.
But in this case now, where we don't have the physical therapist actually bringing the kids, the parent will bring them and say, well, this is kind of what they're working on, or this is the issue that we have. And Kelsey will work with that child on the horse with whatever that is. So everyone is different, and every child progresses different. And we've got them coming as young as 2, and we have an adult that's 46 that comes. So there's therapy there for every piece of it. And the horse's motion for a lot of those young ones, the motion that is provided also is part of that therapy, where there's something soothing about that, and there's something in that motion that makes them utilize their hips and parts of their body that you can't mimic that any other way. I can vaguely remember one that was very, very young that came, and I don't recall exactly what her diagnosis was, but she was in a stroller, and she might have been 4 years old, and she was very bent over. And a lot of times, because they don't do a lot of motion, their muscles tighten and tense up, so they're not loose and flowing. And so this little girl wanted to get on the horse, but she just had a lot of trouble. So we put the therapist in this. We have a special saddle. We put the therapist on, and that child in front of the therapist. And this way, the therapist could, it was all tight and hunched over.
Mm-hmm.
This way, we could have the therapist help her. And that's how we started. And the progression of watching them come every week and how that changes and how that child improves is really rewarding to see.
Yeah.
And we've had many of those happen. And the other piece that it gives to regular kids, like the grade school kids that I bring to the programs, confidence. You know, some kids are just by nature not very confident about things, and they're a little bit leery of stuff, but they might love horses and just have never been around them. So once they start getting around the horses and they learn about the horses and they learn, if you're going to be involved with that horse, they have to learn how to put the halter on. They have to learn how to lead the horse. Give the horse commands and get the horse to respond to those commands. That gives that child tons of confidence because now they're doing all.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then when they start to ride and they're up there independently controlling this big horse and doing all of these things, it's great confidence and self-esteem building. So there's that. The other piece of it that's very big that we're trying just now to get involved with is the mental health piece of it. Those that have PTSD, for veterans, there's a lot of veterans programs where they work with horses.
Mm-hmm.
There's one, I think, an hour and a half away from here, and there's another big one up in Virginia. But they don't ride them, they work on the ground with them for that. But that also provides a lot of calming for those veterans.
Because horses are very intuitive and
Very
empathic
intuitive.
almost.
Hmm?
And
They can read you.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you build a connection with a horse, that really, it can help any person. It's just a matter of making that connection.
Yeah.
So we have a mom of one of the parents of one of the children that has been coming for probably about 6 years. And she started out coming to one of the after school programs. She was turning 7 and she was extremely shy, really didn't like sports. Mom looking for something to get her involved with. And she liked horses around him. And so she brought her out and, wouldn't talk, very shy, a little leery of the horses, but eventually really started getting interested, eventually started learning to ride. And she still comes to this day. And now she's a good little rider now. And now she wants to help with the other kids. Her
Right.
whole personality changed. And her mom is a therapist and wants to get involved with PATH. She wants to become certified and she wants
that's
to do
great.
the mental health piece.
That's awesome.
So she's in the process of going through. PATH has a very rigorous, they're a great organization, and they put you through quite a lot to become certified. And so she didn't have the horse piece. Me and Kelsey both really had the horse piece of it. We just had to learn the other aspects of it.
Mm-hmm.
Maggie does not have that. So she is, coming over. She's got to do 100 hours volunteer time, learn.
Wow.
So she comes to us a couple times a week, learn. And then probably sometime in January, she'll get certified. She works for a company up in Greensboro. And then she sees clients, but then she's already got clients that are asking how. She'll start bringing
Fantastic.
clients down to do that. So
You're
that'll be
filling
the
that
other
other
piece that
piece.
will open
Yeah.
up.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Horses are big animals, so I imagine some kids are intimidated. So I imagine there's sort of a familiarization process before you start just throwing them up there and put them in the saddle. Is it?
Well,
Yeah, how young? Like, what's the youngest age that you have kids like riding like an adult
so I'm
horse?
going to tell you a story of what happened last week. So last week.
Oh, this is recent.
Yes. This was last Saturday. We had a new therapy person come out and they contacted Kelsey. I didn't know they were going to. She does all the scheduling because she does all the lessons. So she had this new rider on, and the mom brought they had a young baby with them, 18 months with them. And he was riding. I thought he was around 6 or 7 years old. Well, it turns out that what he has is, again, it's a big, long name. I don't remember what that was, but it's some sort of a ailment that keeps them from physically maturing. They mentally mature,
Mm-hmm.
but their body does not. So he's 15
Oh, wow.
and he looks like he's 6.
Goodness.
He's a little guy, but he's really 15. So he was out there doing really well in the lesson because he wanted to learn how to ride. It was one of the therapies that he wanted to do. So that's why they brought him. And the little 18-month-old, which was his nephew, was just there with the mom and the, I guess, aunt that was there. And the baby was interested in riding. So they said at the end...
The 18-month-old?
The 18-month-old. So they said at the end, well, we'll put him in the saddle when he gets done for a picture. And they thought they were going to put him in the saddle for the picture. And they put this little baby up in the saddle for a picture. And the kid was like, he was ready to go. He was ready to ride.
18
months old. And so he was sitting up there. They took him around. They had the helmet on him. They took him around. He probably stayed in that saddle for 10 minutes.
Great.
And they scheduled, when he comes back next week, this Saturday, they're coming back and he's going to probably have his own little lesson. So you can't say an age.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like we typically say we don't start them till 3, but yet again, we have a 2-year-old that's coming because their parents wanted, they heard all the things that horses can help with. And they asked, and Kelsey said, well, try it.
Yeah.
Because you never, ever know. You put them up there, and if they like it, we can get far with them.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's
So-
incredible.
That's great.
18-month-old on
Yeah,
a horse.
you really can't say an age. And if you look at our Facebook page, Spirit Horse Ranch Education Center, I have a little video of him up there.
Oh,
From
that's good.
Saturday.
I'll have to check that out. That's awesome. Now,
Yeah.
imagine, how many horses do you have now?
We have 10 horses, a pony, and a donkey.
Okay.
Obviously, all those ponies that came down 24 years ago have all passed. I have the donkey left. He's the only one left of the group I brought. The horses and the ponies that I had are all buried in the back. We have a little graveyard back there. I keep telling
Yeah.
Gil that's where I'm going when it's my time to go. But so, we have a new group there now.
Mm-hmm.
But we do have one pony there. So, and some of the horses we have are not big.
Yeah.
And we do have in our building a little mechanical horse. So
Okay.
they can sit in that saddle on the mechanical horse
Get
if they're
comfortable.
really leery.
Yeah.
But most kids that come,
There's no hesitation
they
for the most
get
part.
on.
That's great. Well, and I imagine horses are like people. They all have different personalities.
yeah.
So you've got to get the right horse, right? I imagine some horses would not be suitable for this.
Do you when you get a horse, is there if it's a bad horse, do you have to send it back? Is that something that, have you ever had a bad horse, like a really mean and not nice one?
We haven't.
Have not.
we
Okay,
have
good.
not.
Knock on wood.
We have not. Because I have good knowledge and I
Mhm.
have good contacts, not every horse is suitable for what we do. I get people that call a lot and say, oh, I have a horse that we're going to get rid of. We want to donate him.
Mm-hmm.
Almost every time those horses are not suitable.
Yeah.
What makes a horse suitable?
They have to have the right mindset. They have to have the right personality. They have to have the right training.
And you guys don't train them, do you?
Well, we can help with it, but they can't be young horses
Mm-hmm.
that don't have enough of the basics. And they gotta, if they're young and they have the basics, they gotta have the right personality.
So you have for yourself, you can kind of assess, go out there and
Yes.
see the horse and
Yes.
do some things
Oh, I
with the
see.
horse.
We can assess
You
the
can
horse
tell.
on the ground,
Yeah.
handling the horse on the ground, either Kelsey or myself.
And since you've been around horses so long, it's like
Yeah.
second nature.
Right.
You just know right away.
Right. And this is part of the problem with, I tell parents, and Kelsey is going to have a horsemanship 101 for parents or people that think they want it. Like we have some adults that come for
That's a
riding
great
lessons.
idea. Yeah.
Because we have adults that are like, yeah, we want to learn how to ride because this is my, retirement dream. I'm going to buy a horse.
Yeah. This is what
And
you need to know.
unfortunately, there are a lot of bad horse dealers out there. It's terrible to say, but they're out there and they'll buy cheap horses from the auction that might have something wrong with them, might not be suitable, and they can drug those horses and they can do things, and then a person that doesn't know can buy that horse and then they can get hurt.
Goodness.
Is
And
there a
unfortunately,
regulatory body for horse
there
selling?
is not.
There is
Yeah.
not.
There is not.
Because there is for a lot of other animals. Am I
There is
mistaken?
not for horses. And there are a lot of people that
Like horses
should
is
not.
the one that they should have it for.
I know.
They're the they're
And my
they're the
dad
smartest
tried
and
to do this on Long Island because it was no different there.
Yeah.
And on Long Island, he tried to put together some kind of it's just an impossible thing to do.
Yeah.
that's not something a local government
it's
can do.
fast it's
That's
fast,
that's
no.
something the
There's
federal
no
government
control.
would have to
The
do.
state.
Yeah, and
For
they're not
state.
going to do that.
Oh.
It could be fast money. You know, if you could go to, they used to have the horse auction in Siler City. You could go there and buy 2 horses for $50. Figure out how to turn them around and sell them for $500 each.
How much does a horse cost to buy?
That is a very open-ended question.
Like
So-
not like a show horse.
Yeah.
Okay, a horse that's got proper training,
Yes.
that's going to,
Like a suitable horse for you guys.
it's going to be
In the
from
thousands?
$5,000 to $10,000.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
what I thought.
You know,
So a
if you-
$500 horse does not cut it.
No. No, but there are people out there that are like, oh, look, this is a bargain. This horse is that's a great deal. I could buy that for my granddaughter. Like, they don't put the thought into, well, why is that horse $500?
It's like a car. Not to say that they're, machines or anything, but like there's qualities to these animals that make them more valuable and more expensive, right?
My horses, you couldn't buy those for $1 million. I
They're
wouldn't take
priceless.
$1 million for those
Yeah.
because they're so valuable for what they do that I would, and so I have taken in, if I can vet the horse correctly and feel like it would be a good fit, I will bring them in. Currently, we would probably look for another big horse. We have one big retired police horse. I would look for another like him, but right now I haven't found the right one.
Yeah.
So it's a long process, and it has to be the right one.
Tell me a little bit about like when you go out to vet this new horse. Like what things? What
Personality. So
Yeah.
I look at how they react.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go up to them and just see, do they come over to me? The thing that drives me the most crazy, and this was back from the pony days, is if you let them go out in that pasture where they're living, and when you want to go get them, they're away from you.
Mm-hmm.
That is the one thing that I'm like, nope, that's not.
Yeah.
That horse has got to look at you, and
Want to come to you.
so that's first. Walk out there. Does that horse come? Now, can I put the horse's halter on easily? There are a lot of trouble with that, or can we do it easy? Now, is that horse lead with me? Can I pick up all 4 feet? Can I direct that horse? Hey, I want you, they're intuitive. So I'm going to say, hey, I want you to go that way. Now, that horse might have a lot of the good qualities, but not all of them. But I might see potential that we could
And work with them. Yeah.
so then that's going to be okay. So the most important thing for what we do is they have to be really quiet, because some of these special needs kids that come are nonverbal, but they scream.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of horses would be spooked by that.
Yeah.
So we have to make sure that they're not going to scream and the horse spook and get upset.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to it.
And for, like I said, for you, it's just intuitive. You just can go
Yeah.
out there and do your thing. And,
Yeah, I feel confident that I can know. And I mean, I could be wrong,
Right.
Yeah.
But you have not been
knock
wrong
wood. So far, I've
so
been good.
far.
So far, I've been good.
That's good.
And I trust the people that I deal with.
Yeah.
Like if I get somebody that I'm really comfortable with that calls and say, hey, I've got a prospect.
Mm.
I feel comfortable. Like K&L, Luanda that owns K&L. She's been a very big supporter of what we do.
Yeah.
And I got one horse from her. I trusted her. She knows exactly what we're doing and what we have to do. And the horse that she gave me is fine. We still have that horse. We've had him for 3 years. So, and if she called me and said, hey, I got a horse, I would trust her.
Pretty confident. Good one. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the right now you're working on this arena.
So our first big capital improvement was all we had was a porta potty. We did not have a bathroom out there, and we had the barn and a covered shelter. And we had an old building there that I saw potential in. It was really, really old, but I saw the potential in that. So our first big fundraising event.
So also a capital improvement is,
yes.
Is that something that you have to like tell the state or tell like, is that just something
It's a
that
building, so it's a structure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So rather than us fundraising to help just operating expenses or help the kids be able to come, help cover the costs, capital improvement is a structure of some sort.
So that's for all nonprofits?
I think
really,
so.
Really for business. Yeah. Capital is you're adding value, like a building or improving a building, something like.
So my vision for that was we could put an education center room and have an indoor bathroom facility, heat, air conditioning, classrooms area in there, plus a place where, because it's right across from our riding arena, we could put windows, and either in the heat of the summer or the cold of the winter, parents could come in, sit in front of the windows, watch their kids in more comfort.
Mm-hmm.
So I had that vision. And so for 3 years, we raised funds. A local builder here came out, and when I explained it, kind of saw my vision and went with me. And it took us 3 years, but we raised those funds. And last year, we got that completed. So we now don't have the porta potty anymore, thank God. Lots of kids had trouble with that going in there. I don't blame them. I don't like them either, but it was all we had.
Yeah.
So now we have a wheelchair accessible bathroom. We have the classroom. And then our next big problem was parking. So we're very limited on our parking. We only had about 12 spots. We could open the gate and let them come in the backyard, but that was still limited. And we like to keep the gate closed just because of animals and kids.
Yeah.
Sometimes parents bring siblings and they run. So we liked having gates closed in closed areas.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, our next capital improvement was to take the little front pasture, open that up, making a parking lot there, and blacktopping all of it, because the gravel was also an issue with wheeling a wheelchair on the gravel, or leg braces on the gravel, or just even the older gentleman that has special needs who's 46 years old and he has trouble walking and, could twist an ankle. They have to hold him when he's. So having blacktop all the way down to our building and our shelter, which is right before the riding arena, was really a great thing. So we got all the funding for that. So that's going to happen in September. So then we'll have we have our building, we have our parking lot. Now the covered arena will be our next big thing. So unfortunately, that capital improvement is going to be an extremely large number.
So covered arena as in?
It's going to cover
whole
the
new
whole
building?
area,
It's a
just the
huge
roof
basically.
of where
And
we
it's
ride.
all open. Yeah,
Like
it's
right
gonna be
now.
open with just the cover on
The
top.
back will be closed,
Okay.
and it'll have
So
a
it's
knee
like
wall in
a
it.
cap that's going on top of your current riding arena? And
Yeah.
that's just going to make
It's-
it to where this doesn't affect it?
Right.
Yeah.
The rain?
How
terrible
big?
You
rain?
could
How-
kind of look at that out there. It's not exactly like that, but
Yeah.
it'll be 66 feet wide by 140 feet long.
That
which
is a lot of roof.
And it's really not, as far as covered arenas go, they're usually 100 by 200. So this is really
is
small
Mm-hmm.
compared to most.
Yeah.
But this is what we have and where we're going to
Space
start.
wise and
So, and as that stands, we're probably going to look at $275,000 to $300,000 for that.
Wow.
So that's going to be a huge thing. So the beginning of January 2027, that's what we're going to start, because the driveway will get done the end of October. And then we're going to start all of our new fundraising in January. And in February, we'll have our big party again,
Yeah.
which this year will be at Pinewood.
Right.
So we
That's
just
right.
met there last night, and it'll be a really good big party. But that'll be our first big fundraiser towards this.
Gotcha.
And I'm hoping it doesn't take too many years.
To get that.
I'd like to do it in 2 years because we need it now.
It sounds like
We
for
need it now.
your strategic planning and being able to have more
Yes.
and consistently, it
Consistent.
sounds like a great
Consistency. And with the kids, consistency is very important.
Mm-hmm.
The special needs kids, we see a lot of autistic kids. Some of them, they want to be on their schedule. They don't like change. So if they're used to coming every week, they want to come every week. And sometimes they don't understand about the weather.
Mm-hmm.
So
It'll just make
consistency.
it better for the kids and also, I guess, for your employees.
Sure.
So
Sure.
yeah.
And if we have Kelsey, who we want to get on salary, and then if Maggie comes in with her clients, she'll be per client also to start.
Mm-hmm.
But, as we grow, if, there are still so many people in Asheboro that still don't know we're there.
Oh, yeah.
And still so many organizations that if I had the time to just go out and visit with everybody,
Yeah.
to bring awareness to the fact that we're there, that would help too.
Yeah.
well,
but
now they know, right?
That's right. That's part of the
Yes.
purpose of this.
Yes.
I had the pleasure of attending your last fundraiser, and it was a great event. And I want to encourage anybody listening to this, and maybe even let us know, and we'll get the word out. that
when
you
is
got
your
that
next
scheduled.
fundraiser?
It's February 20th, 2027
2027. So next
at
February.
February.
Pinewood.
Mhm.
So that's a Saturday evening.
It was really well done, well organized, and just
This one
a
will be
lot
even
of fun.
better.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yes, we met with the manager of Brett from Pinewood
Yep.
last night,
Yep.
and we're going to have some cool games. We've typically always called it the Wild West Party, Spirit Horse Ranch's Wild West Party,
Mhm.
but we might change that up this year.
Okay.
Ooh,
And
stay
we
tuned
might
then.
have like an 1800s saloon.
So you could drag some horses down there and let people ride
Well,
horses
we
on the
can't
golf
bring
course.
the horses in there. Well, they would not like that at all.
Oh.
Not
No, they
at
would
all.
Not at Pinewood. I don't know if they'd
No,
allow
yeah,
that.
that would not go over well. But anyway, we'll still, as we always do, wear your best Western costume, cowboy boots, because we give out prizes for best dressed Western. We'll always do the line dancing. But we'll have great live auction items. It'll be
The
a great
bingo
time.
was fun.
We'll have bingo again.
Yep.
And we might have some bourbon tasting. We might have some cigar girls there selling cigars. We're going to do
Well,
some
yeah.
cool and unique things, I
And
think.
where can
Excellent.
people find you online?
Well, we have our Facebook page right now. I'm trying to get more involved in social media. That is not my strong suit. I'm trying to find, we've got a new volunteer on board that I'm hoping could help me get us out there more in the social media aspect of things. But the Facebook page is Spirit Horse Ranch Education Center. I try to always post stuff on the events that we're going on. We're going to try to have a couple little events at the ranch so that people can come out.
Oh, yeah.
And anyone is always welcome to call and come out for a visit. They could just come visit, and we'll give them a tour of the barn, meet
Yeah.
the horses, stuff like
And
that.
you've got a great website, too.
Yes.
What's the website address?
SpiritHorseRanchNC.org.
And
All
I'll
right.
put that up
Spirit Horse
right
Ranch.
there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It'll be up.
And it's really,
Yes.
I was on it this morning just checking it
Okay,
out. It's really
good.
good. It's got a lot of good information on there.
Yes.
Well done.
And we'll put, whenever we have an event, we always put the flyer up on there. We always try to have a QR code, like for the Wild West Party or whatever we name it. We'll have a QR code that they could just buy the tickets direct. Yeah, and we'll try to put some more events together where they could just come out to the ranch and have a day or whatever.
It's like
Yeah.
a wonderful, healthy nonprofit organization doing
Oh,
amazing
yes.
things for the Asheboro community.
Well, and
Absolutely.
my wish was always that this continued on after me. So and that's another thing that I think that some people need to know is this is just not me playing in the backyard with the horses, not just me and
Mhm.
Kelsey out there playing.
Yeah.
This is something that we're building for the benefit of Asheboro and Randolph County for the future.
Yeah.
I have a whole strategic plan. There's 10 acres not cleared there. as we grow and step, we can add more and we can add more. So we're here for the long haul.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Sounds
We're
like
here to help
the
people.
planning is doing its good. I think
yes.
Yeah.
that's something business owners should look at you and be inspired by.
Absolutely. And, you and Gil have, I moved here in 2007, and I feel like y'all have always been around, and you've really made yourselves part of the community with getting in the chamber and the Rotary and everything. And, I love you guys. I mean, you're really, I think I told you the last time I saw you, you have a spirit, a glow about you. You're so positive, and just listening to your passion about this, it's really inspirational, and I appreciate what you're doing
It
for
is
the
wonderful
community.
that
Thank you.
you've been able to turn this lifelong passion into something that you can build for this community, for the next generations to come. I think that's incredible. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. And that's, I just really, really am that passionate about it. And
You can tell. It's not hard for
Really.
you to talk about this stuff.
no, it is something that I really enjoy. And I love working with the kids. It's like this, I've always been a reader,
Mm-hmm.
and I was a little kid, and I feel like kids need to appreciate reading.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And a lot of kids don't. So what we do for the reading program is I find a book about horses. We take the kids in the barn and we read out loud to the horses. So we break up into
That's
groups.
fun.
And some kids, I don't think they do this in school, but this is what we do. Some kids that struggle with reading, when they read out loud, and when it's not in a school atmosphere, but they're reading out loud, they're relaxed. So if they get to a word that they don't know, I'll help them with the word. Or if I think they might not know the meaning, we'll stop and I'll say, do you know what that word means? And we explain it.
Mm-hmm.
And we read the whole book because it's a month-long course. And then we go sit down when we have our break and we talk about what we read. So we get a little bit of the comprehension piece. And I think it really helps kids. Like after they've read out loud like that, I think they get a little bit more comfortable.
I don't know if you do that much of reading out loud in that much volume when you're in elementary school. At least
Yeah.
I don't have very much memory of doing that when I was in elementary school. But
Yeah. I think it helps to read out
Yeah,
loud.
I
So
agree.
I
Oh,
enjoy
yeah.
that.
Absolutely. That sounds
And
like a great activity for the kids, too, and give them some confidence, learn their voice. Yeah.
Yeah. And we had one little girl who came to my very first one in 2017. Her mom brought her because she was, again, shy, quiet, did not like anything, did not want to go to any school activities, but she liked horses.
Mm-hmm.
So she came, could not read. She was already left back 1 year in school. And she developed a bond with one of the horses. And so I said, okay, we're going to read to him. And, I'll kind of pick out a kid that struggles the most and I'll sit with them and help them. And so I worked with her and we worked through that. And then I had the after school program. So that was in July. Then I had the after school program in September and she came back. And so that doesn't involve reading, but she came to every single program that I have had since 2017.
Wow.
And now she's a volunteer.
Ah.
Now she goes to UARI Charter. She's going into 11th grade. She is in honors, and she helps the kids read.
What's her name?
Emma Clark. She helps the kids read.
Is that Tom's
Yes.
daughter?
Yes. So the first time last year, first time I sat in and I saw her help another little girl read, thinking back. I mean, it's going to make me tear up
I
right
bet.
now.
I bet.
Because to me, that was like,
Yeah.
this is what I'm here for.
Absolutely. You're seeing
This
it.
is
You're seeing
what
it. Yes.
it's all about.
That's awesome.
So,
That's awesome.
and I always say, and I am also very strict with these kids when they come because we're dealing with the horses. Safety is a big factor.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to raise their hand if they have a question. They have to follow the rules. They have to play nice with one another. There's no bullying allowed, no speaking incorrectly. Everybody has to behave.
Mm-hmm.
So, and whether it's the summer reading or the after school, we're together for the whole month. And I always tell the parents that they're not going to forget it. Even if they don't come back. Some kids I invite back, I'm like, look, even though there is a cost, I'll tell the parent because I feel like they need it
Yeah.
and they'll benefit. So, but I always feel like these kids will never forget their time at Spirit Horse Ranch. They'll always remember
Absolutely.
it.
The core memories, you're
Yes.
building those.
Right.
Yeah.
And
That's
that's what we
incredible.
want to do.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
I think we're probably close to wrapping up, but
Yeah.
do you have any examples where you've seen that intuition from a horse? Like, something where it's just like knocked your socks off that horse is.
Yeah,
Pay
like it saw
attention.
something in a
Yeah.
kid that like ended up being true, or like, because I've heard crazy stories like that where horses can like pick up on that sort of thing purely based on their intuition. They just
Well, the thing that
understand
I
things.
noticed the most, and it's going to go to that young lady that does not speak but screams. She is very emotional, and she, it's got to be hard for a teenage. I think she's 18. Got to be very hard.
Yeah.
And she could say a couple of words. Now they gave her a tablet, but when she can't display her feelings or her thoughts, she gets.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this one horse that it's almost like this horse calms down even more when she gets upset.
Mm-hmm.
Like the horse just like that horse knows and just gets super calm with her.
Yeah.
I've seen another instance is riders, like timid riders that, when we're teaching them walk, trot, canter, the gaits of the horse, right? You're going to progress. And there's no rule for that. Every rider is going to progress in their own time frame and because they all have to have the confidence. They got to have you have to think about a million things at once. Where are your legs? What muscles are being tight? What are your shoulders doing? What are your eyes, your arms, your hands? You have to think about everything. So it's a lot. It really teaches focus. Like kids that have ADHD that struggle, if they get into the horses, this is a real great focus tool for them to work on. So when they're progressing up like that, sometimes they'll learn to trot, and then they'll be afraid to make the next step. And so, they'll be like, I want to, but I don't want to. And the horse feels that. But at the same time, the horse will feel mine or Kelsey's energy and know, all right, well, this kid's ready to go. And the horse will just take it upon themselves to go to the next.
Wow.
And then they're like, oh, I did it. Oh, because their first reaction is now, oh, stop. Oh, because they get a little afraid. But then they're like, well, I did it. And so then the next time it's not as scary.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, those are just two things but it's why they're amazing.
Horses are incredible.
Yeah.
Do you still do any trail riding? Or are you too busy now?
Well, I haven't trail ridden, but I was doing Western dressage with my horse up until last year. And I hope to get back into that next year. And I took
Tell
a
us
year
a little bit
off.
about what that is.
Okay, so there are a lot of different kind of ways that you can show horses and a lot of different things that you can do. There's two schools of riding. There's English riding, which comes from England, obviously, and it's certain kind of tack, and they do jumping and they do equitation, which has a lot to do with how you're handling that horse and how that horse is moving with you. And dressage is almost like dancing. You and the horse being dance partners together. It's very elegant and it's very precise. You don't necessarily go fast, but you do all these movements that are seamless. It's very pretty to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And I was never really an English rider. Western comes from the cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
So when when they came here and they were discovering out west, and they were all the colonists were going out west with the wagon trains and everything like that, and they had cattle out there. You had the vaqueros, and the vaqueros And the cowboys managed all of that. And they had different kinds of saddles to suit what they do. And it's a different way of riding. The horse doesn't care what kind of tack you put on him, but how you teach them to respond to you is the difference.
Gotcha.
So I liked the Western. I rode both because growing up, you know, my dad wanted me to do everything. So, but I liked the Western more. So I've done Western Pleasure. I did a little barrel racing, which is just speed events. So they have game events that are like speed events where you either run around barrels or you run through poles or you'll do timed events, right? And those are always at the rodeos. That's like what cowboys did for fun because they were on horses all day, but then they would do games for fun. So Western dressage is where you take the elegant way that the English ride and you kind of bring that over to the Western world where you're still going to do all those elegant movements, but you're going to do it in your Western saddle and your Western attire, and it's not going to be as stiff. It's hard to pick the word. I don't want to say stiff, but
restricted.
Yeah, something like that, where the English is very specific. So the Western dressage is a little bit more lenient
And free,
and
kind of like your body does what it needs to do rather than like.
Well, it's still the same principle. It's just in the different tack. And so I got involved with that about 3 years ago. And I really, and there's levels to it. And so, you know, you start at the bottom, the basic level, and you go up to level 1 and level 2 and go way, way up in that and do where they do freestyle music and you come out and you do your own choreography on the horse. It's so cool to watch.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But so next year, I hope to get back into that. I had to take a year off because there was just so much going on. And I still ride, but I get on when I can.
Yeah.
And I just enjoy a little ride on my horse in my yard. And
very good. Well, again, thank you very much for doing this.
Thanks for being here today.
Conversation.
Yes. I think I learned a lot about horses. I didn't know horses were this in tune with their intelligence and emotion. That's great. Yeah. And I'm glad they're being used to help in that way.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Again, you know, I'm constantly trying to get the word out.
And so, just so people know again, the Facebook is
Spirit Horse Ranch
and I'll put it on the screen.
Center.
Spirit Horse Ranch Education Center. And the
website
is
spirithorseranchNC.org.
And if someone's interested in attending the fundraiser in February, do they just need to go to the website, Facebook?
Well, we don't have it up there yet, but it will be.
Okay.
It'll probably not be up there till the end of September, beginning of October. But
let us know once you get it up, and we'll advertise it on here when we do those. Yeah, absolutely.
Repost it on ours.
By September, we'll have flyers.
All right.
Then the flyers will go up on the website, and we'll go up on the.
Okay.
And like I said, hopefully, we'll have Instagram and TikTok or all those other things.
It is a lot. I have my hands full all the time here. I'm a social media manager.
Yeah.
So
yeah. That's why I can't do it. I'm lucky I get done with Facebook.
All right. Well, thank you very much for being on today,
again.
Rosie.
Yes, thank you.
And that is it for today. So we thank Rosie for coming on the show. And if you have not already, check us out on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the places. We post on our Facebook and our TikTok and everything. So make sure to check us out. And so see you guys next time.
Thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching.